Welcome back to the Den. Matt Porter here with Evan Blyler. We are getting after it for week 5. We are now a month into the fantasy season. We've been saying for weeks on the show, it's only been a couple weeks. Give it time. But now we have a full month of data. We can start panicking a little bit. We can start hedging some of our bets and figure out how to navigate the rest of this 2025 season as we got teams on bye weeks now. We have lots of injuries shaping the league. And on top of that, so far this year, we're getting the lowest yards per game on average in the NFL in the last decade. Has to do with some kick returns. So I'm noticing in a lot of my matchups, touchdowns are swinging things as they always do in fantasy, but I do feel like there's just a lower volume of offensive output, which is just evident in the actual numbers when that's not just a gut feeling. It is proven. So Evan, how are we doing today? How are we feeling in our leagues? Well, we ready for week 5?
No. Week 4, I personally horrible for fantasy. Morale is at an all-time low. But I am cracking the code on some of these leagues. I'm moving some players around. Trades are at an all-time low, at least for how many injuries there are. We're going to see a lot of people trying to scalp some of these people and take advantage of just some people that are down atrocious this week.
Well, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting week for buy lows as well, just because there's some players that I think if you get 4 weeks of nothing from and someone's still willing to buy, I can't fault you for making those moves. And then in dynasty format with all these injuries, I think it's a good time to buy like Malik Neighbors. I just bought him in a dynasty league. So kind of some of these injuries you can take advantage of. You can start seeing where your season is headed if you're truly contending, if you're rebuilding a dynasty format. And then, of course, in redraft, you certainly know your positional weaknesses at this point. But, I mean, kind of starting off here, why don't we just dive right into this great matchup we got tomorrow night? NFC West clash, Niners, Rams. Rams right now, the overall number 1 team in PFF grade just across the board in the NFL. And they get an injured Niners team coming to town here. No Brock Purdy, no Juwan Jennings, no Ricky Pearsall. Of course, no Ayuk, no Kittle. So we get Mac Jones leading the helm here against just an absolutely loaded Rams defense. Who do we like in this game, Evan?
I think it's 2 obvious standouts. You got the RB1 with McCaffrey, and then the wide receiver 1 on the day with Puka Nacua. At least in the general for the highlights. I mean, I know at least with the 49ers, they're struggling, at least across the board with all their injuries. Like, I guess with the last game, 4 turnovers, horrible red zone inefficiency, and they allowed an 87-yard punt return touchdown. So just across the board, really just not feeding well for the team. Morale's very low. But, I mean, on the upside for the Rams looked great. Puka Nacua absolutely dominated. I think it was, 13 catches for 170 yards. Still remains the league clear out wide receiver and the yardage leader across the board. But, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing both of them kind of play it out and seeing where we can fall in this game with a shambled Niners team and a sharp Rams team.
Yeah, I think it should be interesting. I think all the big names you're, of course, starting. You're going CMC, going Puka, going Kyren, going Devontae Williams. Really love the Rams DST in this one. Like you said, I mean, even with Purdy at the helm, just really turning it over at a high rate for the Niners. And now you don't really have any reliable pass catchers there. Big fan of taking the over on Demarcus Robinson's 29.5 yards on FanDuel right now. Just revenge game for him against the Rams. And I think this should be a big game for him. So a little sneaky bet there. I will say the Niners under Mac Jones in the 2 starts that he's had this year, they've operated cleanly. Like he played very well in his time here. Like he's not going to force it down the field. It's just, so I'm not even really worried about Purdy being out as much as I am just no pass catchers here. I think it could get ugly, but that's kind of what we said last time we were talking about Thursday Night Football, and we kind of got a little bit of a shootout with the Bills Dolphins. So in these divisional clashes, things don't always go as expected. Would you stream Stafford in this one, or do you feel like the passing volume won't be there? I mean, he was top 5 quarterback last week. thanks to an 80-yard touchdown by Tutu Atwell at the very end of that game? Or is the passing volume just not going to be here if they take the lead?
Well, I mean, at least speaking from experience, I snatched Matthew Stafford on the waiver wire last night at 3 in the morning. So yes, I'm most certainly starting him this week. I'm also in a bit of a bind where I have Joe Burrow in a few of my leagues. He is on the IR at least until December, if not the entire season, depending on if they can get him back in time for late games or potentially like if they can even make it into playoffs, which is looking bleak. But I have Jordan Love, who is on a bye this week, so I am absolutely starting Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, definitely got some Caleb Williams as well on a bye. So yeah, I think Thursday night usually really good for offenses. Although we have a fired up Robert Saleh after getting into it with Liam Cohen at the end of that matchup last week. Who knows what this Niners defense is gonna have in store? Typically, I'm very against starting defenses in Thursday night games with the short rest, but the Rams are too juicy here. But my defensive calls have been bad so far. Packers last week lost me almost every single league I was in. But not about us. It's about helping you all win in your leagues. So nothing too fancy about this matchup. Start your studs. All right. Then on Sunday morning, got another early game, international game. Vikings at Browns. Dylan Gabriel is going to get his first NFL start here. And lucky for him, he gets to do it against what probably is the best defense in the NFL, or at least certainly in fantasy purposes, in the Vikings. And Vikings looks like JJ McCarthy still not playing, so we should get another round of Carson Wentz here. Nothing like waking up to Carson Wentz, Dylan Gabriel on a Sunday morning. Should kind of be a defensive battle, but I know you're leaning on a lot of players on the Vikings side of things. So should be some decent run for Jordan Mason. Should be good game script, although obviously a very tough defensive front here. You're still, of course, going with Jettas, who looked great last week with Wentz, really delivering him the ball on some timing routes and him getting some big plays there. And I mean, really other than that, I think Hawkinson at this point, not reliable. Addison looked good coming back, so I think he's definitely a good flex option if you've been holding him this season. And on the Brown side, it's pretty scary. For me, I'm still leaning on Judkins, who's been just an absolute workhorse role, and I don't think I can trust any of those pass catchers in this one.
Yeah, I know with Cedric Tillman being injured, it's a little tough, especially for Browns. Yeah, it looking at Judy, Tillman, Njoku. I dropped Njoku. I feel like I can't trust him, even though he's always been the clear favorite in previous years. But at least with the coming of Harold Fannin, he looks great. I'm excited for him for the rest of the season, where his projection is. And yeah, to your point, with this Vikings offense, their O-line it's in shambles. I think they're playing with more backups now than actual O-line starters. So to a T, I don't want to put too much pressure or doubt on Carson Wentz, because I feel like at least with his current setup, he's getting all this extra heavy pressure that JJ McCarthy wasn't even getting with his first, I guess he played a game and a half. But I'm rooting for Carson Wentz. I think he has the structure, at least with his offensive players, and I'm excited to see a good game.
Yeah, typically, I mean, this is the type of quarterback that thrives as well in the KOC offense, or just these NFL vets that are just in a very quarterback-friendly system that don't need to overthink it too much, and you get to throw it to Justin Jefferson and now Jordan Addison. So, yeah, nothing sneaky here either. I mean, I'm pretty out on Hawkinson. I think he's worth having a quick conversation about, just because I know he's always drafted in that middle tight end range and just doesn't really deliver yet. He has a ton of name value. Someone I don't know. If you can pivot off of him in Dynasty, the name, I don't know. He's just been on a pretty clear decline here, and just, I think, really disappointing to fantasy owners, but also, drafting a tight end at all seemed like the wrong strategy this year. He should have just been your last pick based on how we're getting performances here. Okay. Cowboys at Jets should be a fun one. Cowboys coming off of a great primetime game, 40-point tie. Offense looked explosive even without CD Lamb, which completely shocked me, to be quite honest. This line is banged up as well, and they operated very smoothly against at least what we thought was a very good defense. And maybe that's no longer the case with the Green Bay Packers. But the Jets should be kind of fun here too. I think Justin Fields can get it going against this defense on the ground and through the air. So I expect big games out of Fields, out of Hall, out of Wilson, and then on the Dallas side, I think Dak. This should be a pretty solid matchup here. You're starting Javonte. You're certainly starting George Pickens, and you're starting the tight end one and Jake Ferguson. So this could be like the fantasy game of the week, in all honesty, which is how these defenses are playing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Fields. I mean, just with his rushing upside and everything that he's bringing to the table, at least after coming back from a concussion. Um, Kind of impressed, at least looking at this past week and how he was able to bounce back after what it was 2 to 3 fumbles, I want to say. Tough to watch. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of hard in hard situations. The line didn't really do the best to kind of protect him, put him in a position to succeed on some. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, it'd be cool to see both teams kind of have their offensive mindset, and I'm hoping at least we'll get to see a lot of big plays out of Garrett Wilson, who's looking phenomenal. I think he might even end up being like at least a top 5 by the end of the season with how much volume he's been getting. So I'm super high on Wilson, super high on Fields if he can stay healthy and continue to feed Wilson the ball. Cowboys look great. Pickens looks phenomenal, especially with CD out at the moment. I think he still has 3 to 4 weeks. So he's going to continue to farm as well as Ferguson. Ferguson is shaping up, I believe, he's the tight end 1 right now.
Yeah, he's the tight end one, and he's doing it on just absurd volume. I've always liked Ferguson as a player. Used to have a burner Twitter account that was named after Jake Ferguson, so shout out to that. But yeah, no, great player, and yeah, he's just getting the volume done. And that's kind of what we talked about. And I know I was an anti Pickens guy, which is looking bad. I will take the L.
Tried to tell you.
Well, my argument was based on volume. So without CD Lamb, it's certainly a little bit different. Although he was still looking good with Lamb. But one of my big arguments too was that I thought Jake Ferguson was still that guy in terms of the targets he would earn from Dak, who just loves hitting his tight ends on checkdowns and on seams. So it's coming to fruition a little bit. So yeah, no, Pickens looked phenomenal. I thought I went against him. I should have won my game. All my opponent had was Pickens. He gets his 34 points or whatever he finished with. So it's kind of like he watched the channel and said, make sure this guy loses this week. So totally get it. I think this is going to be a big Breece Hall bounce back game. Braylon Allen does go down with what looks like, I believe, an MCL injury on a kick return. Not that he was, taking away too much from Hall, but it very much was a 3-back rotation with Hall, Allen, and Isaiah Davis. So I would expect that to now be more of a 2-back rotation, which of course is going to benefit Breece Hall. But this Dallas run defense, I mean, they can't really stop anyone in any phase of the game right now. So I think he should have a big bounce back for you. Then we get a fun one here with the Giants at the Saints. Jackson Dart looked great in his first start. A lot of RPOs, a lot of design runs, scores a design run touchdown on the first drive of the game. And of course, the bad news here, talking about Malik Nabers. So as much as Jackson Dart looked good, this might be a little tough for him to keep up. Although I like him from a fantasy standpoint, even without Nabers, just from what he can add with his legs. So I think he's going to have a really solid floor, and definitely someone that throughout these upcoming bye weeks, if I can pick off waivers, I think I'd be pretty happy starting Dart, even in this one against the Saints, which could be a fun game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Jackson Dart, I remember hearing the ramblings of this one, I forget if it was an ESPN commentator, but he kept beating it like a hammer. He said, I want to see a guy go out and compete. He said, I want to see him have some heart and compete. And at least in comparison, like, I feel like Jackson Dart kind of just went out there and he did it. It was really impressive. He went 13 for 20 111 yards, rushing touchdown, and 54 rushing yards as a whole, which I thought was great, at least for like a dual threat aspect. It's tough to see Malik go down with what I believe is an ACL
Yeah,
injury. Was
it's
that the most
ACL.
recent? Yeah. So very tough, at least for the managers. But yeah, I mean, I guess on the flip, at least for like the Saints, I think they really did. The Saints did a really great job, at least with what they were dealt
Oh
against
yeah.
Buffalo, and cleaned up a lot. I thought they showed pretty good improvement, at least with like cutting penalties and not putting them in like bad positions. There was a touchdown from Kendre Miller.
Mhm.
I think it was his first touchdown of the year. 65 rushing yards, I think it was. If I had them, yeah.
Yeah,
Am I
no, he's
understanding it?
certainly
Yeah.
getting definitely he probably went on a lot of people's waivers already, but if he's still there, it is definitely looking like Kendre Miller's getting a turn here. Certainly not overtaking from a volume standpoint from Alvin by any means, but this could turn into a kind of committee here. But yeah, no, Kellen Moore showing a willingness to be creative. I know the play didn't work out, but they try to run the Philly special. Chris Olave throws an interception, trying to get it to Rattler in the end zone. But it's at least showing us that Kellen Moore's going to not give up on this team, and they're going to be creative, and they're going to be in games. And I think they're better than their record because they're competing and they're playing fairly well, when you consider the kind of talent discrepancy that they're going into a lot of these games with. Did see a crazy stat about Alvin Kamara where I wanted it may have changed after this week, but it's like 8 attempts within the 5-yard line, and the Saints have thrown on 7 of them. So it's not even like Kamara's like not converting in the red zone. They're not using him in these goal line opportunities. So he's someone I like. I like betting on him this week for a touchdown against this Giants defense. I don't know. I think he could maybe they'll design some creative passing plays for him there if they can get into the red zone. But I mean, this Giants defense kind of exploited the Chargers, so not expecting that one.
No, not by any means.
Yeah.
We'll see how this week goes.
Yeah. All right, Raiders at Colts. Should be a fun game here. I mean, Colts still kind of continue to play well. They really beat themselves this past week, as I'm sure everyone's seen the A.D. Mitchell fumble out of the end zone. A lot of missed opportunities in this one for the Colts. And the Raiders are still trying to find their footing. Geno is not playing well at all. Really struggling with turnovers, but we finally did get the Ashton Jeanty breakout game. 3 touchdowns this past week. So if you bought low, congrats. This is why we don't completely paint the picture for a rookie just a month into their careers. But that's a personal investment here, Evan, but I miss Brock Bowers.
Oh man, gone too soon.
I love Brock Bowers so much. One of my favorite players in the NFL. And it is so hard to see him not get targeted. And
Yeah.
I know that there's the knee injury. I totally get that. And it may be limiting what he can do after the catch, but I don't see how it's limiting Geno's desire to throw to him. And the passing volume wasn't very high in this one, but when they finally had a chance to go tie the game, Geno was just instantly dump it off to Bowers, get into field goal range. So it's like, okay, so when it's a critical situation and you have to move the ball, you're willing to target your best player. But when it's like the other 50 minutes of the game, we're not looking his way. I don't know.
He just throws to Trey Tucker, of course. Like who else would you have guessed?
Yeah, Deontay Thornton, Trey Tucker, Raheem Mostert.
It makes no sense. Like you look across the board, I can't make sense of like the running situation. Like I feel I'm happy that Ashton Jeanty was finally able to pop off and have a game. He was well overdue. But it's just like hard to analyze across the board, like where they're favoring their play calling and who's like their go-to guy. You would think like with how well Bowers did last year, they would want to get, like you said, get their man the ball.
Yeah.
Like he's proven.
And in week one, they did. In week one, he was
Right.
used for the explosives. And then if I were to scroll Twitter, let's say, like, it's going to be, oh, the injury, the injury, the injury. But when I go watch the all 22, he's getting open. And it's just, I don't know. It seems like he's not getting the ball thrown his way. And I don't know if that's because they think he's limited. But if you're having him run routes, he's already doing the work. Let him try to get you something after the catch. Like, don't dismiss it. Especially with Michael Mayer out this past week, like there's no competition for the tight end snaps. But I'm sure he's one of the players at this point that is contributing to people's 0-4 teams. If you took him in the late round 1 or early round 2 swing there, which hurts. It just hurts.
Yeah, and I think the Raiders O-line's not helping them out either. Like I'm consistently on that side of social media where it's a guy yelling at the screen saying that the Raiders couldn't block a kindergarten football team. Like the O-line does not help them out. And I don't think Geno is an elite quarterback by any means to be able to like break out and kind of make those extended plays.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of getting what you give at this point. And yeah, I guess to pivot with the Colts, yeah, they had so many secondary breakdowns. They, like you said, they just beat themselves up. I'm excited to see Puka because he absolutely. Why am I saying that for the Colts? I'm looking at the Colts versus Rams game. Sorry, but yeah, I am excited to see how this Colts team bounces back, and if this loss does put them in a hole and where they can kind of turn from this, if Daniel Jones really is that leader to kind of bring them on to the greener pastures.
I like Daniel Jones in this one. I think a great start.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I think against this defense, he'll kind of be back to what he did the first 2 weeks of the season. So I expect 20-point game from him. Same with Taylor. Tougher run defense here for Genty, who, the Bears defense, it seems like most people are kind of cooking. But I was excited to see how his role expands, because the best part of last week for Genty was the usage, where they finally were using him in the passing game, which they were not doing the first couple weeks of the season. So, he had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns. So hopefully lesson learned there for Chip Kelly. Okay. Battle of the 1-3 teams here. The Dolphins at Panthers. Dolphins brutal break on Monday night, losing Tyreek Hill for this season with knee dislocation, plus ACL damage, plus other damage that I wouldn't understand as a non-doctor or medical professional. But on the flip side, they did have the return of Darren Waller, who caught 2 touchdowns in his debut. I actually kind of love him as a tight end moving forward. Especially if he can fill in this Jonnu Smith role from last year, and with no Tyreek Hill in competition, kind of be the Waddle, Waller, and Achane show here moving forward. And then Panthers, that Bryce Young, Ted McMillan connection still looking strong. Hasn't really shown up in the fantasy stats just yet. And I think that's because, we haven't gotten a touchdown yet from McMillan, but I think this could be the week against this Dolphins secondary.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be interesting to see how Mike McDaniel and all of them adapt with Tyreek out. I know, like you mentioned, what it was. Waddle, Malik Washington.
Yeah, I like how they're using Washington. He's clearly a plan for their team moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know who the upcoming third is to fall in. I'm interested to see kind of how they fit into the scheme, and if they're just going to keep trying to run.
I think it's going to be Achane. I think they're going to run more. Get Ollie Gordon in the backfield and then put Achane at slot. They've done that before with his usage. So I view him as a receiver for their team, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. With how they use him. The way he can break out into space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm also really excited for Waller. I had some opened up space based on some of the wide receivers getting injured, and I just decided to do an early invest in Waller. Just to see. If he's there and he's open for you, I don't see why you can't pick him up. I thought Tua looked really comfortable in this game, at least much more than previous games.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to how he can kind of compete for this week. If he can kind of keep the momentum going, especially against a 1-3 Panthers team, which the D's actually been very surprising this year. I'm really excited for Bryce Young. I don't think the Dolphins are anything flashy where he can't have a great bounce back game, and kind of just break out, maybe get Tet the ball more, get Chuba Hubbard the ball. We can break downfield. But yeah, no, looking forward to this game.
Yeah. We won't get it in this one, but Jalen Coker should be coming back from IR soon, and I'd love him as a stash. Get ahead of it because I think we've seen even with Renfro, he's put up. So he had at least one pretty crazy game so far this season in that slot role for Bryce. So I'm excited for him to get back in the lineup and someone you might be able to acquire in Dynasty. And there's a lot of coke heads out there, but if people are panicking that he doesn't seem like he's coming back, definitely like a cheap buy there as well. I mean, I'm not really trusting Tua or Bryce in this one. I think more of a fun watch for me than a fantasy one. I do like McMillan here. I think he'll be a solid top 24 receiver this week. And yeah, I think Waddle's ceiling is pretty high now, certainly without Tyreek Hill. All right. Defensive battle, Broncos at Eagles. I know this is your team, so you want to lead here.
Yeah, this is actually going to be a pretty tough game. It's always that classic, like, oh great, like I'm excited for the Eagles game. Eagles game starts. Oh shit, we're competing. They're coming back. The Eagles won. It's like that classic tale, and I think this coming week is going to be a pretty considerable test, at least, because the Broncos look good. I know they competed against a dog water Cincinnati team that is just kind of down bad on defense as well as like their offense. But I thought Bo Nix kind of had a great breakout game. Like this is by far probably the most complete game that I've seen out of him. He went 20 for 42, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, a late pick, but had a rushing touchdown. And I thought it was cool to kind of see J.K. Dobbins get a little bit of a revival. He went for 101 yards. And I actually had a stat down, but he ended a Broncos 37 game drought without a 100-yard rusher. And I thought that was a pretty considerable day, at least across the board. I thought that was great. And this is the fun stat that I wanted to throw up. So
okay.
This will give you more context. So it's going to be one of the players on this Broncos offense, but I figured out in my dad's convoluted league of mystery points and pulling points out of a hat that you never would expect. So I mentioned to Matt earlier about who would you consider to be the number 16 wide receiver in the league based on points in a league that also values kick returns?
Oh, it's Marvin Mims.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I was looking at the stats, and I had to rub my glasses off when I was checking these stats because I wasn't sure if I was hallucinating from being tired at 2 a.m. or if it was true. But Marvin Mims has like well over, I wanted to say it was like 63 to 4 points for the year. So he's rivaling guys that are in, let's see. So he has more points than George Pickens in this league, 1 more point than Garrett Wilson, less points than Jackson Smith-Njigba, and then Quentin Johnston. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, how is no one seeing this? Like
in a points per return yards, you got it. Yeah, go get Pro Bowler Marvin Mims.
So what I did, so I'm picking up. I've got a waiver wire in for tonight. Hopefully it lands. But I'm getting Mims and I'm dropping Matthew Golden. And then I'm also picking up. Sorry, I'm talking about my specific team, but this is just so
it's fun. It's this format is kind of crazy.
And then I'm picking up the Tennessee wide receiver of I always butcher this. What is it? Kamir DK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So DK is the right.
Yeah. So I'm picking up him as well, who is sitting at around 55 points and is ahead of DK Metcalf, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, and Justin Jefferson. So
love it. No, I love it.
This is my year. I'm like seeing numbers fly across my screen. I think it's it. But hopefully my waiver wires hit.
Actually, while you said this, to tangent here, I thought of a new fantasy format today, and I need to put it on record because I had another format I created and only told my friends, and then someone else decided to think of it 5 years later, and they're getting credit. So I got to get on the record with this one. This might be an old head thing. Did you play Yu-Gi-Oh?
I did.
All right. So you know how like a part of Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't think everyone did this as kids, but I think in the show at least, it's been a long time. But you had to like give a card. If you
Mhm.
beat someone, in theory, you get to take a card from their deck.
Okay.
I could be making this up. I don't know. This is how I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Could have been kids in my neighborhood saying that to trick me into giving them my cards.
I think
So
you got swindled.
okay, anyway, well, whatever. So I'm calling this the Yu-Gi-Oh! Format League. And when you win, you get to swap players with someone on the team that you beat. So I could give them my bottom of the barrel player for their Bijan Robinson. But then if I
Mm.
lose the next week, they're gonna get one of my players.
Mm.
So that's the format. So yeah.
Wow, that would put some teams in a blender. I'm not gonna lie.
The
And
rich
when
get richer.
yeah, yeah, we're feeding the top 5%.
You're drafting for week 1 in that format.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, just throwing it out there. You heard it here first.
Send me that invite. I'm actually really down. That'd be so ridiculous. And
Well, as soon as
then
the show ends, I'm going to Google now if that was actually a rule. I think I might have been swindled by the neighborhood kids.
I
But
think you got swindled.
it's okay.
Yeah,
It's all right.
yeah, and then making the most like devious draft punishment at the end of the year. Like I'm not talking like lemonade stand or like a business 5K. I'm talking like 10 times worse.
Mm.
I gotta find some. I've got a running list of the all-time worst draft punishments that I have ever mustered my eyes upon.
Oh wait, okay, no. Okay, I had to do research here. I did not make it up. I was not swindled. Okay, it says it's not part of the official rules, but losing a card is in the anime, so it is a common part of like unofficial duels.
Okay, so they were kind of running like pink slips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Gee,
All right. So okay. So it stands. Yu-Gi-Oh! League. We're gonna start it next year. We'll see how it goes. Might have to do some app development on that to make the technology work.
We'll put in the ticket with the devs real quick right after this episode.
Exactly. Do you have any hope for the Eagles passing game? Like what are we doing with AJ Brown? This is a brutal matchup.
Yeah.
So if you're hoping for him to go back to his 18 point per game ways that he had last year, I don't think you're getting it in this one. I think at this point you have to bench him.
Yeah, Sertan's so good, and I just it's tough because like you're not really getting a read on any of this scheme. I think the real only like even like Saquon, like I'm not even seeing like a fraction of what we saw as of last year out of Saquon. I think at least as an Eagles fan, that's really frustrating to watch. And in comparison, someone that I am excited for though, let me pull my notes.
I mean, they were shovel passing to Dallas Goedert quite a bit last week.
Yeah, so. Yeah. With what he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they wouldn't give everyone the ball in the red zone except for Saquon,
which is insane. Like I don't know if that's like.
Well, the thing is, Saquon's been really good. It's compared to a historic season, which I think we kind of saw the regression coming. But
yeah, I don't think he's
when it hits, it hits
with Adam Sandler anytime soon. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited. It'll be a defensive battle for sure. But I think you will see games throughout the year where they just switch up the scheme and you'll have a AJ Brown breakout every so often. I think Devonta Smith is going to have a lot better of an outlook for the majority of the season, just with a lot of like the primary coverage that AJ Brown takes away and a lot of like the downfield balls that Smith is able to capture. But yeah, no, pretty abysmal passing game. I'm not gonna lie.
I can see this being a Devonta Smith game, if anything. But I don't know. Okay, so let's do this: AJ Brown or Marvin this week. Marvin plays the Titans.
Oh, Marvin, yeah, 1000%.
AJ Brown or Zay Flowers without Lamar against the Texans.
AJ Brown or Zay Flowers without the Texans. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge Zay Flowers guy. I think he's done manageably well, better than AJ Brown, but I'm gonna go Zay. Yeah, I guess I'll have to go Zay Flowers.
All right. AJ Brown or Stephon Diggs revenge game against the Bills. Patriots Bills Sunday night.
Stephon Diggs actually looked pretty good last game.
100-yard game, 6 for 100.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like Bills just have a way of like crushing passing games for offenses. I I'm gonna go AJ Brown. I'm gonna go
AJ
AJ Brown.
Brown or Brian Thomas Jr., fellow
Uh,
struggler against the Chiefs Monday Night Football. The Chiefs
yeah,
defense hasn't really. I guess they kind of did just shut down the Ravens, but other than that, they've allowed a good amount.
I know. I've been waiting for a BTJ breakout game, and I thought it was gonna be this past week. I'm not gonna lie, but I think I would have to go. I'm gonna go AJ Brown.
I guess I could do this all night. Last one though. Predicting the breakout game. Is it AJ Brown or is this the week that we have been waiting for? Is it Lad McConkey? AJ
Oh
Brown,
my,
Lad McConkey. I mean, like I'm benching Brown personally. I think for every name that I've said so far, I just
yeah.
can't. I can't. So he'll go off for everyone else. So start him. Wheels up.
Yeah, for my mental health, I surely hope Lad McConkey does not have a breakout game because I have played him every single game this season and watched Michael Pittman, like Quentin Johnston outperformed by a country mile. So no, I hope he does not have a breakout game,
Yeah,
but it's possible.
But with that said, I think this is the point of the season where we can confidently say, yes, you drafted AJ Brown in round 2. No, you don't have to start him just because of that.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that take ages. Yeah. All right. Texans, Ravens. Cooper Rush will be leading the charge most likely for Ravens. Lamar hasn't officially been ruled out. It's doubtful. I think I saw it was either from Rappaport or Schefter. I can't remember who the tweet was from that said they think he'll try to play. But we'll see. Yeah, exited with the hamstring injury against the Chiefs. Got some criticism because no trainers actually looked at him when he left the field. Didn't go to the blue tent either. So there was definitely some armchair coaches saying he quit on the team. But it seems like it is more serious that he'll most likely miss this week and possibly even more. And Texans, just kind of in the AJ Brown category for me is like Nico Collins, just really not producing at the level that you would have hoped. Although this Ravens defense is not looking like the defense we would expect. So actually, I like Collins in this one. Got to talk about the Texans running backs because we had the Woody Marks take over last week, doing it on the ground and through the air, gets 2 touchdowns, and just for me looked really good. I really liked Woody Marks at USC, and he kind of a little bit fell off my radar in the Dynasty offseason in terms of how he fell in like kind of where I would rank. But then when the Texans drafted him and gave up really strong future capital to go get him, I think that was the signal of, okay, he was a good investment. I feel very grateful. I actually drafted him in a redraft league where 1 and 3. So I didn't have to fight for waivers though this week for him. He's just already on my roster. So I'm excited to slot him in my lineup. And I think he's a solid RB2. I mean, he's a really good pass catcher, like a very good pass catcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy. Call me crazy. I'm slightly favoring the Texans. I'm not gonna lie, and that's I might sound ridiculous,
No.
but Ravens are missing their offensive MVP by far. Lamar is that offense; it breathes through him, and I just think, like the defense, they're nowhere near what we would have projected, including like 2 very key injuries with defensive starters that I saw with Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey. So at least like when you look at that with just the morale as well as like the compounding injury of those players on the defense, that I had my stat down here, but it was they've allowed 133 points through 4 games, which is the worst start in franchise history for that span of games played. And like I don't know how they're going to bounce back with that when the true player who like alleviates that defense is Lamar Jackson. So we'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see how they kind of bounce this week and where we're gonna go.
Yeah, it was really interesting because it's still so early, but like this kind of is make or break territory for the Ravens. Like definitely at least for a top seed. I mean, if they lose this week and get Lamar back, I mean, they're really just pushing for a wild card spot at that point. Like, they got hope for the best. But yeah, I actually think Cooper Rush is one of the better backup quarterbacks. Like he's solid. He's not going to really make mistakes. But this Texans defense just should feast here with no Lamar. But yeah, I'm all in on the Texans side. I'm definitely firing up Nico Collins with confidence. Not like the AJ Brown thing where I'm scared. And yeah, I really do like Woody Marks as a start this week. I think it's legit. I think we'll get some passing volume against him, which the Ravens have actually been the worst in the league at in allowing receptions to running backs. So could be a Woody Marks game here. I wish it was more shootout friendly with Lamar. I think it'd be much better for all of our fantasy stars here. But yeah, you know me, I'm not a Zay Flowers guy. He was on my bust list as well, which time will tell on that one. But I don't feel great about him in this matchup. Like someone else I'd probably consider benching with no Lamar, and just against this Texans corner duo that is just elite. Yeah, I don't think I'm really feeling great about the Ravens outside of Derrick Henry, who could struggle again too when this elite Texans defense just stacks the box.
Yeah, we will see. we will surely see.
We will move on. All right. Titans, Cardinals. Titans still looking for their first win. Cardinals, a lot of emotion in that game last week, which I love to see. Really love the second half we got from Marvin. And you could tell, like, it meant a lot to him when he scored that touchdown and he was on a knee. Like, he was just relieved after just the terrible first half that he had. So just one of those things that you just like love to see from not like a non-fantasy standpoint, just like guys putting it together. And they're going to need him. Trey Benson now goes to IR. They already lost James Conner. So we have an interesting backfield split here for Arizona. Amari DiMercado operated last week as the third down back, and he gets a touchdown in the 2-minute drill towards the end of that game. But now they also activate Michael Carter from the practice squad, who announced on Twitter today that he is starting. So he broke that news himself. Oh, sorry. He didn't announce on Twitter, but an interview with him went kind of viral because he's like, yeah, like one day you're on the practice squad, the next you're starting. And I was like, oh, I guess he's been told he's the starter this week. But yeah, I expect it to be Michael Carter on first and second down. And I think DiMercado would still stay in the third down role. Nothing too juicy there, though, with any of those players. It's McBride. I feel good about Marvin this one. Fingers crossed. And then on the Titans side, there isn't really anyone who's startable. Even Pollard, who I really loved as an RB2 at value, just I don't think it's really there right now. The scoring opportunities aren't great, and they're still not using him in the passing game. So kind of out on the Titans. I know there are a lot of Io Manor stands out there, though, who might be firing him up if they're desperate in these bye weeks.
Yeah, this one will definitely be an interesting game. Like I don't even know who. I mean, I guess I would say I'd prefer to favor the Cardinals in this game. But I mean, at least looking at like the start that they had, like I mean, both teams don't really have much of a rhythm. So it'll kind of be interesting to see like with how poorly both of these teams played, at least in my opinion, from this previous week of where you would put them, how they kind of match up against each other. Third down and red zone was pretty tough for Cardinals. They didn't really have the ability to convert as much as they should have, or at least I would have expected to. Kyler Murray, I think he had his lowest adjusted QB rating of the season. 2 interceptions. Just really had trouble connecting in that first half. But I did enjoy to see his bounce back and the extended game and how he was able to try and connect with Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, he ran the ball. He had a huge scramble as well. So nice to see that upside is still there. Yeah, I think Kyler's a very solid start. I mean, he's someone that I don't know. He's going to be top 12 in production yet. Just like, don't watch him play. Just only look at the stats that accumulate after the game, and it'll be a much better experience than refreshing your app every snap. But big news on the defensive side of the ball is the Cardinals will get back Will Johnson, their corner. So I think that'll just really help them hopefully stay on top of this one, although they kind of seem to play to the level of their opponent. That kind of seems to be the story with the Cardinals. So we'll see what happens here. This should be a fun one. The Bucks go to Seattle to play the Seahawks, who are just looking really good. That defense is absurd, and Baker has been turning it over. A lot of turnover-worthy plays. despite it all not showing up on the stat sheet. Bucky Irving's now dealing with an injury, and Chris Godwin is being eased back in. I mean, Mike Evans will still be out in this one. So as fun as the Bucks offense is, I think they're going to have a pretty tough day. And I think the Seahawks defense at home specifically is really going to control the tempo in this one. And I expect the Seahawks to kind of struggle to run the ball just against this Bucks front. So I think we're getting a huge game here from JSN.
Yeah, I mean, JSN looked great. By far, this is like his breakout season. I think I read a stat on Twitter that this is his best 3-game start in franchise history.
He's absurd.
Yeah, like it's nuts, especially given like with Sam Darnold, who, you know, I would argue he's a very middle of the table, probably like I would say like a B rated QB, definitely not like in your A or S tier. But I was impressed. Like he was very poised, at least.
He's playing. Like, Darnold's playing great football.
A lot of good key throws throughout the game. I thought he scrambled in a few times that he needed to and was able to run the ball. At least he's proven to be like a winner in that system, with at least the players that he has. I like to see the usage out of the rookie tight end Elijah Arroyo. I thought that was pretty cool.
And AJ Barner getting another touchdown as well.
Yeah, so across the board, like the scheme seems to work out really well for this Seattle team. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how the Bucks are able to match up and kind of come back from the loss against the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, Bucks explode the second half, so they still certainly have that capability in this one. So I'm definitely not fading the Bucks. I'm just definitely tempering my expectations. But the way Baker plays, like these guys are still going to find ways to produce. This should be a fun game. And one thing I love, JSN didn't have the most productive fantasy game last week against the Cardinals. They didn't really need him to. And then when they kind of needed to have a go-to guy towards the end, he delivered on 38-yard ball from Darnold. And then, of course, controversial new kickoff rule. They missed the landing zone, get the ball, and it's just like 120. I think it was like a 22-yard throw to JSN, and then they seal the game on the game-winning kick. So he sets up when needed. But what I loved was in the first half when he wasn't really doing much receiving, they gave him carries. So saw a good nickname for him that the JSN stands for jet sweep. So they were still finding ways to use him, which you love to see when offenses say, hey, we're not getting our star player the ball. Let's at least, give them some jet sweeps. Didn't do much with it, but yeah, I like the usage there. How are you feeling at this point between like the Kem Walker, Zach Charbonnet split that seems to really be changing every week? It seems like Charbonnet is just the red zone guy. And I think this was a frustrating one for Ken Walker owners where he looked fantastic. Lots of explosive runs. He would get them to the red zone. It felt like every drive on a big play. And then they would just give the ball to Charbonnet here.
Yeah, I think it was towards the end of that game where there were a few penalties where it just bounced back and forth, a few false starts. And Kenneth Walker just brought them back every single time. Like I thought he did a phenomenal job. And granted, yeah, maybe a little bit of a stat padding with every single time he'd be taking that ball, 5 to 10 yards to get them back within scoring position, just for Charbonnet to kind of get stuffed at the line. But yeah, just confusing. Surely, at least looking at it, yeah, like Charbonnet is going to be getting that red zone usage. I'm hoping that K9 can get those breakout runs just to get some of those longer touchdowns that'll bring you a lot of like that fantasy value that you'll want throughout the season.
It seems like he's going to have to score on an explosive run. Like he won't get the red zone opportunities, which is frustrating because like watching him, like this has been an elite game. And then you check your fantasy score. So how does he have 12 points based on like what I'm watching? All right. So I think we're going to have a blowout here. Lions at Bengals. I mean, come on, just Bengals need to trade for Jameis Winston at this point. I was confident in Jake Browning originally to keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase's fantasy value alive, and that's just not looking like the case. I mean, Jamar Chase is someone you can consider benching. I don't know if this is the one I would do it in, just because I expect him to play from behind, that we could have some kind of garbage time T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like, I mean, Jamar Chase can easily just break a 60-yard touchdown at any time. But Lions, fire up Jared Goff this week. This is going to be a good one. I think everyone's going to be involved. go play Jamison Williams. He has the boomer bust profile, but this is going to be the boom type of week. And Bengals are scary. My AJ Brown, T Higgins builds are in shambles. So we'll don't know how to go from there. And I mean, Chase Brown, reach like low key kind of droppable.
I don't even have the words.
Redraft.
Yeah, I don't even have the words.
I did just drop him, but it was in an 8-team league. So like that just the context there kind of matters. And I'm loaded at RB, but yeah, it's just ugly days in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's a shame too. Just this, like how high I was on Chase Brown.
Well, yeah, like, you have 3 elite fantasy options. Well, I guess 4 if you count Burrow, and just one of them goes down, it kind of ruins everyone else. So
yeah, it's almost like that house of cards.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I thought Browning could. Well, what we saw with Browning in the past, and it's a small sample size, is they still did have spike games. So it's very possible that any of these players have the spike games with Browning. It's going to be hard to predict.
Yeah, like I don't even have anything to say about this game. It's just like that impending doom where you just know it's not going to be a good game.
I'm going against a lot of Jamar Chase this week, so he'll probably be good.
Yeah, that's typically how it works, right?
That's how I need to start betting. It's just like, who do I go against in the most leagues? Like, I lost.
Well, at least you'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be happy one way or the other. I mean, I did just lose a game because of Justice Hill turning into LaDainian Tomlinson. So, but yeah, not about us. Not about us.
That's tough. Just not about us.
Imagine being projected to win by like 20, and then going against Justice Hill, who has 28 fantasy. But like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
I told you,
or like Gainwell, the Steelers, who looked like the best running back in the league.
It's not been a fun couple weeks.
To quote that, yeah, like I'm sure that game in Germany, they probably thought he was like a prime. I can't even say. I don't know. That's annoying.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah, prime Barry Sanders. Yeah.
Okay, Commanders, Chargers. We talked a little bit about the Chargers. I think this will be a fun one to talk about. Commanders. It looks like Jayden Daniels still is not playing. Is that correct? Do you have a more recent update than I do?
I think it looked favorable with him coming back.
Oh no!
Let me. Don't quote me.
Let's fire it up.
Don't quote me on that though. I'm looking into it.
Yeah, I mean they need him because they just kind of embarrassed themselves this past week against the Falcons. Deebo Samuel's really doing his thing though. I mean, he's like, this role is everything you could have ever wanted for a late round wide receiver. And there's, as excited as we've been about Bill as a community, there's still not really anyone we can trust in this backfield right now. If you look at the carry metrics, I mean, Bill is like one of the best running backs in the NFL right now, like per carry. So I think it's still going to trend his way eventually. It's just not quite there yet. Chris Rodriguez had a pretty explosive run in this game. McNichols still being used. But we got to talk about the Chargers. This is a prime bounce back for them. Really disappointing week against the Giants. Although it was the Omarion Hampton breakout for sure. I mean, averaging over 10 yards a carry, finishes with about 25 fantasy points for you. Herbert still playing very well. The brutal news here, though, is them losing Joe Alt after already having lost Slater. So they're missing their 2 elite tackles. And I don't really know how that's going to impact this team because Herbert's just going to have a lot less time in the pocket. I mean, these are two brutal losses to their offensive line. And I think we're going to see, maybe that benefits Ladd. I'll just start right there. We'll get into the Ladd McConkey conversation, who has been playing well this season until last week. Like, last week is totally on him. He had multiple drops, just really disappointing showing. But if Quentin Johnston's really the field stretcher here, that could be taken away if Herbert has no time to throw. So I don't know. Where are your thoughts here, Evan, on this receiving core in Los Angeles?
I hate to say that it was for the Giants, but they were almost kind of due to have a bad game. I guess, with the injuries to their O-line, that really will open up that pressure, and kind of you see the issues with that time in the pocket and just not being able to get those long breakout throws that really kind of broke down a lot of the defense that they played over time. You kind of saw them like chip away with a lot of those throws throughout the season, and kind of get them into those realistic places. Very surprising. Yeah, like to your point about the Omarion Hampton breakout game, not what I would have expected on how poorly the passing game was. You would think that with how he's performed these last couple games, they would have done even worse. But just kind of like that weird miracle flip side. But on the flip side, the Commanders, Jaden Daniels was medically cleared to return. About 9 hours ago, he mentioned that he plans on going in this Sunday.
Perfect. All right.
Coach Dan Quinn also considered a full participant in the Commanders practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Or sorry, yeah, today's Wednesday. Sorry. Yeah. Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay, so good. That is good news. This should be a fun game then with a healthy Jaden Daniels. I think this has shootout written all over it.
Yeah. I'm still expecting a lot out of Debo, though. I think Debo's still going to be like the main target. I don't. Is McLaurin going to be back this week too?
Don't believe so. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chargers. So let's talk. What is the Ladd McConkey conversation here? Like, we should have seen this coming more, especially with Keenan Allen signing. Is that it? Is it just Keenan and Ladd's roles are similar? That I don't know. I don't really have like. I feel like I have no. I've been trying. This is all I think about is Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers, and why they're letting me down. Like,
and why you lose sleep at
I've
night.
hyped them up so much. Like, what did I do to deserve this? This is what Dynasty does to you, Evan. Is like you get so attached to players, so to like be hurt by your favorite players,
it's like they're like cheating on you. You know?
Yeah,
it
feels so personal. It feels so personal, and I don't know what to do.
I really think it is like that Keenan Allen connection though, because he's got so much history with the Chargers, and has played with her before. So at least looking at that and like how well he fit back in, I do think he took a lot of the routes that we used to see Ladd on. So yeah, like really tough.
Because I thought last week was going to be the big Ladd game because Giants heading into last week were the worst in the NFL in terms of slot yardage. And like Ladd's still a good player. Like the tape still doesn't lie. Like he can get open. He's had some near misses with Herbert. Like week 1, Herbert missed him for what would have been like a 60-yard touchdown. This conversation might not be happening as he have like 2 really big games in these first 4 weeks. This is kind of the last, like I said, I think this one does have shootout written all over it. So I'm starting Ladd over AJ Brown. I guess drafted in similar areas for sure. But if this isn't it this week, I might kind of you might really just have to punt for this season. Long-term outlook, I think, is great. Like this probably Keenan's last year. No clue if he's still playing at such a high level. But for redraft purposes, yeah, like Ladd's just killing teams.
Yeah, me included.
I say start him this week.
I like that.
And,
I got to go back to the draft board on that
we'll see where we can go from there. All right. Patriots Bills. Oh my gosh. I cannot. This is the game I'm most excited for. Drake May in prime time. Let's go. QB4 in fantasy right now. And he's putting up some just elite metrics. I mean, if you just go search for Drake May on X, you'll see all the historical stats that he's had, like so consecutive games with 75% completion and 2 touchdowns. He is now tied for his 3-game streak. The only other players that have done that, it's like Peyton Manning, it's Drew Brees. It's like Hall of Famers. So he is really cementing himself as a player in this league. He has a really good relationship off the field with Josh Allen. I know Josh Allen's really taken him under his wing, which is awesome to see, especially since they're like in division. So I think this should be a fun one. And we just saw, as you mentioned, Evan, the Saints played really well against the Bills. I think this Patriots team can do it too. I think this is going to be a close game. I really do. And I think we're going to get a lot of offensive fun here. Unfortunately, Josh McDaniels, back to his old ways of just ruining backfields for fantasy. And as much as I want the Trevion Henderson breakout to be here, I mean, he did get to score, but it's still a three-headed monster there with him, Gibson involved in the red zone and Ramondre. So I don't think we're going to have a clear startable running back that you can feel really good about. But Henderson's got to figure out this pass protection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean their running back scheme is like really tough to understand, especially with how poorly they did last week with what two fumbles by Ramondre Stevenson. I was really hoping that like Trayvon Henderson could fit in better in the scheme and just get more of a dominant role in comparison to the two. But at least like with their last game against Carolina, they were able to kind of control. They were able to avoid fumbles earlier, which kind of cleared up a lot of the issues that they had in previous games, and kind of like enabled them to take that early lead and kind of set themselves as like the clear winner for the game. But yeah, I mean, with their time out on the field, it really put that Carolina D in a bit of a blender, and they just really couldn't recover. I thought they did a great job of working the field, and just getting an open coverage. Like, it was fun to watch that Drake May game. I'm such a big Drake May guy. I love him out of North Carolina. It'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun to kind of see this real challenge of a pretty reasonable Bills D, and a great offense that'll challenge that New England defensive line with kind of a more even offense to defensive ratio of who's out on the field.
It seems that the Patriots are figuring it out. Like, I'm loving the culture changes that we're seeing with Vrabel. Great video of him like hugging everyone after the win. Like, people were so excited. And I mean, obviously you're trying to win every game in the NFL. Totally get that. But because of this being just a marquee matchup against a divisional opponent, I think the Patriots are going to really like have to show their cards. Like, I still believe that Josh McDaniels has some, creativity and some nice plays here up his sleeve. So wouldn't be shocked if we get like a Henderson explosive in this one. Like, finally, like, can he bust loose on like a 70-yard touchdown here? I could see it, not betting on it or anything like that, but just certainly won't surprise me if this is the game where we start to see things really come together here for the Pats offense. And we'll end the week with the Chiefs and the Jaguars. I mean, Chiefs put the Ravens to shame. I was so excited for that game, and it just was gross the whole way through. And Jaguars are feisty here. It's from the fantasy standpoint, there's been so much disappointment, and we're not seeing it in that sense. But from like the real life football NFL perspective, like, they're doing a lot of really good things on both sides of the ball in Jacksonville.
Yeah, their defense looks sharp.
Yeah. I'm shocked by that. I'm shocked by that.
Like multiple forced turnovers.
Punt return touchdown last week.
Punt return touchdowns. They've recorded 13 takeaways through 4 games, which is the most in franchise history for like this span of like game time in the beginning of a season. Just insane to see it, and kind of upsetting, but to see like, how well that defense does, to put their offense in a good place to like get out in the field and kind of drive. And then we're just not seeing that from like BTJ. It's like, it kills me because I want him to play well so badly. But yeah, just like can't really read like Trevor Lawrence in this offense with him trying to target really anyone. Yeah. I think Strange looks pretty good considering where everyone else falls on the offense.
And the run game's awesome. Like, they've figured out the run game. But yeah, it's like has the Liam Cohen like fingerprints all over it. It's just this passing game. I think it will click. Like, this is one of the situations where I haven't lost all hope yet through 4 weeks. And like, I hate seeing people give up on Travis Hunter already too. It's like, I feel like we can't judge what Travis Hunter is doing until we see Brian Thomas Jr. return, right? Like, how can we judge how the wide receiver 2 looks in this scheme and offense with Trevor when a player that we know had top 5 elite receiver upside is doing nothing? Like, I don't know, because I'm seeing a lot of takes out there of just like, he's a great college player, like clearly can't do it in the NFL. It's like, what? Like, that's such an insane take this early on. Travis Hunter's like 23-yard catch was insane. I don't know if you saw that highlight play, but yeah, just insane ball tracking skills. He did get to play more offense in the second half. Liam Cohen basically said coach's decision. They didn't get into why that was. As an optimist, maybe we could think that there's a conversation of, hey, maybe we really do just need him on offense, and this experiment will end soon. We'll see. But yeah, hard to judge these pass catchers, especially with BTJ struggling. It's like, I don't know how you can judge anyone else here, but Trevor looks like he's struggling. Not a lot of accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it'll be a good test for them. Because that Kansas team is surprisingly still really sharp for, still waiting for Rashee Rice to come back. Xavier Worthy back actually had a really great spark. What I think he posted, I think it was let me see. A career high of 83 receiving yards.
There you go.
That really helped open up that offense. Like they look great. I think I saw a stat from before that Mahomes distributed the ball to 9 different teammates within that game.
It's what he does.
It's just like not being able to read him and kind of making his players succeed with how good he is. And that's like minimal glazing.
Yeah. All right. On that note, this is my last question. Travis Kelce or Darren Waller?
Oh my God. I like Darren Waller.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. All
right. This is the Darren Waller show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it has been a blast with you, Evan. Excited to do this again next week. Best of luck, everyone, in your fantasy matchups. If you got questions, start, sit, team rebuilding, any questions, definitely drop those in the chat below. If you found anything useful in this episode today, make sure you're subscribing, hitting that like button, and engaging with us in the comments. Always love to talk ball with you all, and we will see you next week.